get well soon, guys, and that's all we can say. Like,
that's
come back stronger than ever.
Absolutely.
At least it was a real injury.
Snap.
You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Here's Mike Riley, takes the drop, waits and throws, and he's going deep downfield to Darius Bowman. Oh my goodness, what a catch by Darius Bowman. You won't see many better than that. Franklin to Zylstra, touchdown Eskimos. Pressure's coming. Oh, Levi Mitchell goes down. There's a big play for the defense. Somersaults for everybody.
Welcome back to the Turf District for episode 104 of the Eskimo Empire Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and thank you, as always, for downloading and having a listen. Make sure you do the same for all of the Canadian Football Podcast Network shows. You can find, of course, all the links to those at CF Pod Network on Twitter and on their Facebook page. I do want to send actually a quick shout out to Brian and Mojo for having me on the Lions Den last week for a CFL roundtable. Great laughs and conversation as always, and of course I would recommend you look that one up, as Ryan has his full-on heel game well in place for that one. It was very fun. We have a lot on the show this week as we are going over the week that was in the CFL, including the Esk Stamps Labor Day rematch and of course all the other games. Some Esks news, a new history segment, our pick'ems for this week, and we are joined by a new featured fan. But first, returning to the co-host chair after a safe return from being in the red abyss for almost a week, it's Superfan Mike. How are you, man?
Well, I'm all right. Last week, on the weekend, it was, absolutely fantastic. Great poutine.
Yes, so, the poutine was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty much the highlight of the day.
Yeah, well, so you know what? I think there was a couple other of highlights.
There was a few.
Some good. Some not so much.
About 3 hours after the poutine, I was less happy, but...
Yes. Well, there was a few tirades.
Yes.
Yes. Sounded a lot like this.
Dirty Perky Shark back flatten.
Fire trucker!
Morton Philip Bunker Martin. Perkaluma.
Fire trucker!
Burton Waggle Frax Wack.
Fire trucker!
Wagon floated back, tarring that cataback. There's Patton as a trapper all.
Fire trucker!
All right, joining us as well, the whole team is here as joining us back in the Turf District for the second week in the row. It is Miss Kayla. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Oh, see, I love how she has new ones every week. That salty voice. That's perfect.
Just sounded like Natasha from Bullwinkle and Rocky.
Well, we have to, we're going to jazz this up somehow.
A little bit.
That's how it's going to work. How you doing, Kayla?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
You've recovered a little bit?
Yeah, I had a feeling this wasn't going to go in our way anyway, so...
Okay.
Just how it went not our way.
I'm not allowed to mention it yet.
No, we will get there. We will get there.
It might come
up. But thank you as well last week, and I do want to mention it right off the top. If you're not already following our Instagram, make sure you're doing that. Kayla's putting up some beauty shots, and so follow along the Empire Photography. So thank you for all those.
Yes, hashtag Empire Photography. Yes. Not the wedding stuff, the football stuff.
The football stuff.
Both come up when you search.
Oh, okay. Well, we like the football stuff. That's wonderful. Now, Mike, we did talk about, of course, the poutine was good. I just realized on the Periscope I didn't actually announce how many liters of gravy we made. So
all of them.
That was 3.5 liters of gravy that we went through. That was pretty impressive.
That is a lot of gravy.
Goodness.
We did get some shouts out from our Montreal fans and friends saying
using real curds.
We were using real curds, so that was good.
So of course, what are you going to use?
I told them it's time to come out to Edmonton.
Yeah.
We're making this worthwhile.
And bring some Schwartzes while you do.
If you don't mind. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, where do you get those curds, man? I was just eating them alone.
Exactly.
They're
Little squeakers.
good.
Squeakers.
Yeah.
All right.
They squeak.
On your teeth.
Yummy.
Mm-hmm.
The biting sound will be really good. All right before we bring in our featured fan, I do want to just do one last reminder. If you are listening to this first thing as it comes out on Wednesday, you can, our last minute, kind of jump into the Twitter poll for the CFL swag bag, the Eskimo swag bag from MBNA Rewards. Make sure that you vote and comment, and of course you could win that swag bag. So join in there. If you're listening past Wednesday,
TFB. It's a great prize.
It is. And I did post the picture on all of our social media, so find it there. All right, let's get to our guest. Joining us for the very first time down here in the Turf District, it is Matt Pretty. How are you doing, man?
I'm awesome.
Excellent. Thank you for coming down and being part of this.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
This is great.
I can't wait to delve into this last game with you. But first, let's connect a little bit back to your fandom. So when did you actually get introduced to football and kind of become an Eskimos fan?
Well, my first game ever was in, I think, 91, and I remember the tickets had little fireworks and helmets on them. And Mike
fireworks
might
know
know exactly when that'd be. But it was against the Argos, and I can't remember whether we won or lost, but I enjoyed the stadium experience. And so my dad would take me to the odd game when he could till I hit junior high. And then I started going on my own to the Knothole Gang.
Nice.
And I ended up with season tickets in 2002 when the Grey Cup came and I was in high school, and then I've had them ever since.
Awesome. Me too. That was when I first got my seasons, was 2002. So,
I thought you were going to say high school.
No, not high school. No. I'm so glad you're here, youngin'. All right. And I think you told us on Periscope, but you sit in C, right?
Yeah, lower C.
Okay, excellent. Long flag.
Oh, my.
Big flag, close to the fireworks, and the mini footballs.
Yeah, of course, mini footballs.
We've known each other for, obviously, years.
A long time, yeah.
One thing I don't think a lot of people know about is you have a connection to the team through your family.
I do, and I don't even think I figured this out until I met you.
Yeah.
But my grandfather, who died well before I was born when my dad was very young, was a member of the board of directors in the 60s. And so Mike actually found me a couple of copies of the media guides with his name in them.
Nice.
And so that's one of the more unique things I have and unique connections I have. So thanks a lot for finding those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I showed them to my dad, and he doesn't usually show much emotion, but he blinked a few times, and he was like, oh, yeah.
That is awesome.
He was speechless, so that was pretty good.
Do you have any other favorite stories about your fandom?
Not really. I mean, I've met so many people through the online forums and the podcast and everything else that's probably just my favorite story, in that growing up, I was the only one who was really, really into CFL football. Mm-hmm. And so when, the dawn of the internet age and everything else, and so I was able to connect with all these people that share the same passion. And that just opened up a whole new circle of friends for me, I guess. And that's been, it's been amazing to meet so many really, really, really good people who I've connected with, not only football, but over other things as well. And so that is probably, my favorite thing about my fandom. I love to follow the team on the road, and I don't get to more than one or two a year usually, but that gave me a chance to see parts of the country that I don't usually get to. I went to Moncton for Touchdown Atlantic back in 2010, and I've been most other places. I haven't got to Hamilton yet.
Oh, wow.
But, but yeah, no, that's really opened it up. And then the fact that the players are all relatable, they're everyman, they aren't making millions of dollars, they're playing because they love it.
Yeah.
And I really want to show my support for that, because it's no matter whether they have good seasons or bad, they're still out there busting their butts for us at Commonwealth. And the fact that I can go see them for, fractions of the price of other professional sports leagues is great.
Awesome. That's a great answer.
So keeping on the string of favorite things, what, or who I should say, is your favorite player of all time and your current favorite?
I grew up on the Giz. He was my first jersey, and I met him a couple times. He signed my jersey. I don't think I said a word, because I was so awestruck.
I can imagine.
But I mean, my first kind of big exposure to the team was in the mid-'90s with Eddie Brown and Larry Ruck and that era of players. And then as we moved into the early 2000s and the Vaughn, Mitchell, Tucker, Ricky Ray years, I guess I usually liked the underappreciated guys because I wanted to give them some love. So the first game-worn jersey that I bought for myself was Matthew Bertrand.
Nice.
And so the guys like that have been around a long time, that put in a lot of work and don't necessarily get the accolades. McCarty's another one.
Yes.
Yeah, I got one of those. Yeah.
And I don't have him yet, only because I didn't want to get two fullbacks back to back.
Yeah.
But those kind of guys that stick around for a long time, that don't necessarily get the accolades and even stay here afterwards, are probably the guys that stand out the most to me.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate that.
It's a good answer. Show them some love.
That's right.
I like that. I like that.
For current team, I can't say there's one guy that really, really sticks out. I think guys like Walker, guys like Ladler could become those kind of guys if they stick around a while.
Yeah.
I know some of them have the talent to go south. I'm surprised Walker didn't stick.
Yeah,
honestly.
me too. Yeah.
And so I hope that I hope a lot of those guys are going to be around for a while. Mondo Sewell is another guy I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
Who's going to be here for a while. So if I were ever to get a defensive line jersey, it'd probably be him.
Good pick.
That's awesome. So we've obviously been friends on Esks fans for a long time.
Yes.
And you were kind of known as the resident stats guy on there. So
yeah, when we first started.
Yeah. So what is it about the stats that you really love?
I always liked numbers as a kid. I was never great at like calculus math, but I loved simple math.
Yep.
And so figuring out averages and certain situations and things like that appealed to me. And at that time, they still published box scores in the paper.
Right.
And so I would read the paper, put all the stats in a spreadsheet, because the league didn't keep great stats at this time.
Yeah.
And so I would have that sheet to refer to for discussions, whatever else, and I'd log various other anecdotes about the games and stuff. But it stopped about, probably 3 or 4 years ago, mostly because I found the love of my life at that point. But the league also has done a much, 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 much better job of keeping stats.
Yes.
And so there's no need to
now you can just
spreadsheet them now when you can go on the website and look them up and, this guy was thrown to that many times, or there were this many pressures, or there are this many sacks and lost yards and everything else. Whereas before it was going through the play-by-play when they had it. And, this penalty was for this much, this penalty for, So I'm not as heavily into the numbers as I used to be, but I still keep an eye on them for sure. And they're the best tool in arguments that has ever been written. You can make stats say whatever you want,
it's true.
But if you're good at it, then it can prove points real easily.
What's it Mark Twain said? There are 3 kinds of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yeah.
Well, and as they will say on the Waggle, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And that's what we like to do. And we're going to get into the numbers in a minute, but before we get there, I do need to ask. We ask every fan that comes in here, what does the Eskimo way mean to you?
I thought a lot about this question because I figured it would come. And I think doing things the right way, on and off the field, in the community, and doing them the best all the time. And, you play clean, you play hard, you don't play dirty, you give it 100% all the time. And, there were a few years there where we got away from that. But I think the team overall, Ed Hervey helped reinstitute that, and I think a lot of the leaders on the field are keeping that going now.
Excellent.
Which is good.
Excellent. Great answer. And we're probably going to touch on that very shortly. Before we get into our game, let's talk a little bit about the Esks news, because there was a couple of transactions that kind of affected who we're going to be talking about in the game. First, of course, there was the return of number 87, Darrell Walker. Welcome back to the Empire. Now, of course, shortly after that, they did release James Tuck, who we had signed basically just in time for the Labor Day game.
Oh, James, we hardly knew you.
Exactly. Yeah. It was thank you for being here for a fleeting moment.
He got his game.
But the depth chart, actually, as it came out, of course, now we've added Walker, then we've added Blair Smith comes back onto the roster, Philip Hunt, Daquan Bowers, Euclid Cummings, all coming back into action. You're excited about that one?
Just a little.
Okay, perfect. And Grew goes to the one game. So Stafford, Moore, and Allen go back to the practice roster. But what? No 6 game, you say? Well,
Hush, Mike.
that changed right before the game started as Mercy Maston goes down with what is rumored to be an Achilles at this point. So he's likely
done for the season.
And then, of course, during the game, our friend Peters goes down, and that looked like a pretty serious injury as well.
Yeah, he was holding his ankle as he was being carted off. And
Yeah.
that's
Carted
never
off
been-
is never a good thing.
No.
Never.
That's the first sign it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
know.
well,
get well soon, guys, and that's all we can say. Like,
that's
come back stronger than ever.
At
absolutely.
least it was a real injury.
That's snap! That was a good one. That's pretty good. Yeah. Geez, that might be the intro right there. Yeah. All right, so let's get into our game recap because, of course, this is now we know who's all playing, and now we've already mentioned him, but of course, Darrell Walker having a massive effect in this game.
Welcome back to the league, Darrell.
Yeah, my goodness! Like, I thought he had a brilliant game.
He had his own drive.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, and that first touchdown that he got on that last play from the 2,
he was not going to be denied.
That's what I was just going to say. He fought through 3 different
At least
jigs and tackles and he was not going down.
Pretty sure you saw the fire coming off his shoes, just trying to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fireworks.
Yeah, Matt was extra excited.
Yeah.
More fireworks. This is good. But a couple of catches even during the game, like I think there was only 1 or 2 times that I saw that he kind of went one way and then realized, oops, I was supposed to go the other way, and he kind of looks at the other receiver. Sorry, dude. First game, like I only had 2 practices, but overall, I mean, you'd say he had a good game, right?
I see, he had a fantastic game. Outside of Brandon Zylstra, he was one of the most electric receivers on either side of the ball. Another thing you'll have to say is he had way more targets than he did in the NFL.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So he only caught 1 pass in the NFL, and he caught a lot more this game, and he's going to catch a lot more. I mean, even coming in halfway through the season, I could see him hitting 1,000 yards.
Yeah, it's entirely possible you put up games like that.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason he came back here, not only for the, whatever money we could give him, but the chemistry he had with Riley over the past couple of years is undeniable.
And Bowman.
He's going to get so many more targets and familiarity and get himself some numbers and some exposure.
Great film.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And just like going off of what he said in the interview when he came back, I almost saw him in a new light. Like there was so much humility.
Yeah.
And just what he said too was he was thankful for the short time in the NFL because it taught him so much. And I could almost see it. I was like, this guy kind of looks like he's from the NFL. Just the way he was like approaching the line, going off like the slant run. I was like, NFL, because those actually work. But he was just I was kind of unsure. I was happy he was back, but me and my other number that I quite like. So I was a little like, oh man, now he's going to be on the practice roster again. But after his display, I was like, you know what? This is awesome to have him back. And just to see it, almost like he charged that whole offensive line. They felt like a new team. It was awesome.
I can't disagree. I know him coming back. I knew that it would be good for us. I didn't think it would be this huge an impact in the first game.
Yeah.
I think that was the big shocker to me, right?
It's going to mean that other teams are really going to have to game plan for him.
Absolutely, which is then going to, as it did in this game, leave some space for guys like Brandon Zylstra and Duke Williams, and they took advantage of having some of that extra speed at Darrell Walker, opening up those spaces for them. So that part is exciting. What I just realized, though, is I didn't actually say that the score was...
We don't need to say the score.
Well, the Esks
wasn't that
lost.
bad.
The Esks lost 25-22. Now, I don't know. I can think of about 23 reasons that they lost this game. I mean, at least 2 and 3 key moments, I would say.
Let's go with that.
And it's like 2 and 3 add up to a loss. Is that what you sense? Because that's what I kind of sense at this particular moment. I mean, I understand. I digress, but I think we didn't need to talk about it. We are down to 5 DBs in total in this game. A DB gets hurt, we have nobody else to go in. That everyone is
back,
there.
unless Adams can come back from the practice roster. Neil King.
Oh, no, I meant in this game.
Oh, in the game? No,
in the
no.
game.
Maybe they'll have Mondo out there. I don't know.
I don't get probably Odell because his contract as athlete. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
But still, I mean, overall, and I think we talked about this before we got on mic, but the front 7 had a better game.
Yes.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. And I think they did play better that way. They had 6 quarterback pressures. Chick had 3 quarterback pressures himself. So I am eating some super tasty crow this week.
I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
he needed to have that kind of game.
I think it's just he had to get used to the new system. It's a different system than he's used to, obviously. And maybe this is just him getting on that ramp upwards.
And I think the return of Euclid Cummings helps with that too.
Oh,
because now
absolutely.
up the middle,
And
they don't have a
Absolutely.
choice but to actually stay on those guys in the middle.
Yeah.
I think that was a
Yeah.
You
huge
can't double team Mondo because then Euclid Cummings or Bowers is just going to eat you for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that gave some free moments for Chick.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, Matt, you were saying too, and I need to give you credit. Before we get any farther,
Yes.
Matt is the one at training camp that came up with Hakuna Matata.
Yes.
Because we said Malumba Shamanga, and he turned up and said, "What a wonderful phrase." So Hakuna Matata didn't look out of place.
No, not at all. But between him and Konar and Hoffman Ellis, they looked like they belonged in a linebacking core.
Yeah.
Starting linebacking core.
I agree.
We haven't been able to say that too often this season. And for the first time, too, I noticed that Kenny Ladler wasn't in on every play because he didn't have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
Which was
point.
so encouraging to see.
And not only that, but Maluma Shamanga as well on specials.
Oh, absolutely.
Another great game.
Yes. Yeah, he's just all over the field. And a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, he played 4 years at Maine at middle linebacker, so that definitely is his natural position.
Oh, sure.
But, I mean, people see the Canadian tag on him, and, well, he's a Canadian, so.
Yeah, well, and just drafted.
Yeah.
Right? So you think, oh, well, who knows? But, man, I thought he had a great game.
Alex Singleton was a rookie middle linebacker, and he did all right, too.
He did okay.
You know, when he's not hitting people going out of bounds. But anyway.
Well, we should probably get to that pretty soon. I have one more touch that we need to talk about on the defense, though. So Calgary had 272 passing yards in total for the game. 92 of those came on 2 plays to Young's coverage. For the listeners at home, I'm
Air
doing
quotes.
air quotes.
Oh, they heard them.
I'm sure they did. I mean, really, I understand we have all these injuries in it, but can somebody explain to me how this is still possible? that the huge turning points in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still a little confused on the second one. Because,
Oh, there was plays after, absolutely.
But I'm just thinking, like, that second one, that should have been our ball.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But I was so infuriated with the fact that Young basically jumped over him and was 5 yards away when the ball came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you get to a professional level and you don't know how to stay with your guy. Like, that was his only job. Stay with your guy. And he was wide open. Now, granted, yes, quick whistle. Definitely
which
an
doesn't make
advantage
any
of a
sense.
quick whistle.
The guy gets the ball, falls down, not touched, gets up again. Why is there a whistle?
And we already know that Marcel Young is 5 yards away.
exactly.
Because we just discussed that.
Yeah.
Right.
So how was there a whistle in the first place?
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all. A guy came up and basically got behind him, and they blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Without giving any type of... And then the ball pops out, or,
Right.
right
Yeah.
in that moment,
I mean-
and that's it.
And I think it should be said, I think once the whistle goes, Parker probably did let up a little bit, and then the ball came out.
Right.
I'll give him that. But, yes, this is a quick whistle thing. Seems to be not a recurring thing, but 2015 West Final, Messam goes down, at least he gets no touchdown.
Right.
And then this. And, I mean, it's coincidence, it is. But the fact that they're so whistle happy on that play, but not others.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All you can ask for out of officiating is consistency, and nobody seems to be getting it.
No.
And that's the same team we had 2 weeks ago too, wasn't it? The last home game was the same team.
Same reffing team?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but...
Yeah. I can
The
remember.
lead,
Yeah.
the lead of it. I don't know who it is.
Dave Foxcroft.
That's his name.
That's his
Thank
name.
you.
Yeah.
Well, we had him last game too, because I just remember his bug eyes. Like every time he went on the mic, he was like, "What am I saying again? Where are my notes?"
I feel Kayla needs to talk about the reffing.
This
this
is a
particular
little off
moment.
topic. Did the head official throw one flag this game?
Well, he sure didn't when there was that hit to the head to Riley.
No.
No.
And he was right behind him too.
But
Yep.
I no holding, no roughing the passer. No, I don't even think they threw the objectionable conduct flag.
Sure.
They just went and
They,
announced it.
they didn't even, but they didn't throw that flag. That was
Right.
in the eye in the sky.
No.
That's right.
so
Anyway.
threatening.
Anyway.
Now, okay, so...
To me, that should be a penalty because it's been called a penalty. That was
absolutely.
But then called the other ones.
Well, not only that, but the referees didn't call the penalty. That was the eye in the sky.
The eye in the
But the
sky
eye in the
called
sky
it.
called that penalty.
But didn't
long
call
after.
the punch.
Didn't call the punch.
Didn't
Didn't
have
call
Oh
They
the,
did
yeah, that. Oh, I actually saw that on the
yeah.
on the big. I'm sure everyone did, but that little
Fire trucker.
I am sorry. Are you a professional? This isn't the UFC. This is football. You need anger management. Matt O'Donnell wasn't even doing anything. He was just like,
He's
"Well, like,
lying
I'm
down on
down.
the
I'm
ground.
down." And like 3 punches, really? Yeah, come up to the stands, buddy. We'll show you some stuff.
Oh my! Oh, Kayla,
I'm kind of scared now
Yeah,
myself.
no
Yeah.
kidding. Now, I don't think we're really in a position to be talking about anger management
This is
with our
true.
team this
This is
week.
true.
He didn't hurt anyone.
Our
Just the
okay,
mic.
let's talk about this right now
Yes,
because and honestly, I mean there is a lot of people saying that the refs cost the Eskimos a game. I think they played a role. I think that basically, and we talked about this before, a serious lack of execution in the red zone
Yeah.
definitely caused us some issues.
Penalties.
We killed ourselves
Yeah.
with penalties.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought that. And again, special teams didn't really do a whole lot for us in this particular
Not so
game.
special teams.
Not so special at this point. So there's lots and lots and lots of blame
Lots
to go
of
around.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about the Moss challenge and then reaction to said challenge.
He seemed miffed.
Just a touch. Now we were already at Westivus, but we were watching it on the screen when the fireworks went off, not the good kind, Matt, sorry. But it was, I don't know, for me, I'm kind of torn in the fact that I completely understand the frustration.
Right.
I completely understand the fire of Jason Moss, and I know that he is, he's that type of emotional guy. I get it. The part that bothers me, though, is you're now the head coach. If it had been the first thing where he basically took them off and slammed them on the ground and was upset and yelled and then went back to the bench, and I'd have been absolutely, totally worth it, needed to have that
Yeah.
frustrating moment.
Yeah.
Still would have got the penalty, which is not helpful, but you know, you have that you do have to show your players that you support them in that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But the turning around and throwing it against the bench, that went way... That's,
Yeah.
in my mind,
That's
is
far
too far.
I gotta say, I loved Morley Scott's reaction to that, where he said it was the headset was on a 6th game and probably career. That was pretty magical from Morley.
So we need it as another injury on the
Yeah,
team.
no, I agree. I think that the best way to describe what happened is Moss had a tantrum, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's not really appealing. You can be mad. I mean, he's always been fiery. He was fiery as a
Absolutely.
player. 2005, that came into a real big handy for us.
Yeah, sure did.
But yeah, you have to control it a little better than that and not let it all go. And I know that he said in the presser after that, yeah, it didn't really matter because it came at the end of the half and didn't really affect us. It still sends a message to the team, the other team, fans watching
A lot of
everywhere.
people.
And I just think that it needs to be reined in a bit and take that emotion and use it a little more positively.
Yeah.
I agree. Matt?
I fully agree with that. I think almost it's unfortunate that this was his first game where he didn't wear a hat.
Yeah.
'Cause if he takes the hat off and slams it like I tend to do,
Yeah.
then it's
Nobody's
fine.
saying anything,
Nobody
yeah.
says a thing. But because it's the headset and then it breaks and then all the pieces get thrown too, then it's just worse. And
We can't do that here.
No,
No.
here. No, gosh. But
No. That's
but
it.
yeah.
I can't do it.
But yeah, that and then you look at Lado with the helmet throw and
Yep.
Edwards with the throat slash, and we just can't do that. I would bench those guys if we had anybody left to bench with.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think you can bench Ladler. He's one of the best players on that defense.
Kenny, you can't. You can sit him down for a series, maybe.
Yeah.
but
Yes.
But that means Edwards is his backup. So.
I know, I know. Like I said, we had nobody left, and yes, it stinks, and again, it might go back to consistency, and that, you throw the challenge, and I can see why they didn't overturn it.
Okay.
That kind of call goes both ways. Seems like every week, but then you get a very similar call later that goes the other way.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it's like, well, what do you want then?
Okay.
What's the rule? Nobody seems to know what PI is anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't known
Yeah.
for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Or the accidental PI.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one. I'm not
Tangled.
gonna lie.
That
If we
was,
get tangled up.
Oopsie.
That was Saskatchewan game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That happened?
Yeah.
Or
I-
sometimes a stiff arm is not a stiff arm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a
okay.
face mask.
Yes.
That killed me because in the first quarter, Bo is escaping Sewell down by my corner, and he gets his face mask the same way,
Yep.
Yep.
And
exactly the same way, and it gets called one way both times.
so, yeah, I agree that I think the consistency is where the
That's what's
frustration came
frustrating
out.
for the most people.
But I mean, yeah, penalties. We had 10 for 107 yards. So you can't give up a football field,
Not including
in
the ones
penalties.
that declined.
Yeah, exactly. And expect to win a game. And
No.
Calgary had 5 for 35. So
Yeah.
it was a huge difference in this game. Now let's get back to a little bit of positive. I thought the offense moved the ball well, especially in
20s.
comparison to the Monday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They, we didn't. The interception that happened went through an Eskimo player's hands.
Yeah.
Push-ups, by the way.
Yes.
And and then went to the Calgary player. But there wasn't. It seemed like the offense had more confidence, and I think you said that already, Kayla.
Absolutely. For the most part, like, I am not blaming Riley at all. Some of those throws were very uncharacteristic, and I was a little confused by some of them because one of them was thrown into triple coverage instead of a single coverage.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of decisions that are very costly when you have this type of game. So it's questioning those. And I'm going to say it again, that O-line did improve near the end of the game.
Yep.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. How many times there was 13 quarterback pressures for Calgary?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Now,
Come
some of those
on.
were definitely not on the
nine
line.
in this game.
Yeah.
Nine
was
in
it nine? I thought it was 13.
pressures, 9 pressures, and 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The issue
but-
to me is sometimes Riley's holding onto the ball a little
Oh,
long.
Yes, he is.
way too long.
And you get a pressure
Way
because
too
of that,
long.
so I don't blame the line on that. But there were still several breakdowns before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did have a better run
Yeah.
near the end. Not that obviously didn't matter, but that was an improvement, so that's good.
It's something to build on.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I think in the long run, this was a better effort against what is considered the top team in the league right now.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And
In
we
the regular
stayed
season,
in.
yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do well. They do regular season so well.
Yeah.
So well. So proud of them for regular seasons. And in the end, we just kind of shot our own toes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta make it
so-
hard to dance unless you're, returning
Really
the
does.
ball.
Really does. Well, all right, we've dealt with enough of that, I think. But I will say, I think it was a return to form
Yeah.
for the team. You know what else is returning this week? The Eskimo History segment. Take it away, Superfan.
you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on repeat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
Welcome to another edition of This Week in Eskimos History. Today we'll be looking at Eskimos milestones in the week of September 12th to 18th. Looking at some Eskimo-related birthdays in the next week. September 12th, friend of the podcast Glenn Harper, punter 1991 to 96, turns 53. On September 13th, another friend of the podcast, Chris Morris, offensive tackle 1992 to 2005, will be 49. And two birthdays for receivers on September 16th. First, we have Daryl Mookie Mitchell, receiver 2004 to 2006, will be turning 46. And on the same day, Kamau Peterson, receiver 2007 to 10, will be turning 39. Current Eskimos celebrating a birthday this week. September 15th, Nate Adjei, receiver with the team since 2016, turns 28. And on September 18th, Ladarius Perkins, running back in his first year with the club, will be 27. And looking back at an anniversary of passing, September 13th, 2012. 5 years ago, we lost one of the original 1949 Eskimos, a diminutive halfback and kick returner who went on to be one of the most powerful men in the country, Peter Lougheed, who died at the age of 84. Lougheed was a student at the University of Alberta in the late 1940s, where he excelled at sports, particularly football, and when the university folded its football program after the 1948 season, several Golden Bears jumped to the big club, the newly minted Edmonton Eskimos, and wore the uniforms donated by the U of A that year. Lougheed played for the Eskimos for the 1949 and 1950 seasons before graduating from university and entering law school. After completing his law degree, he took his MBA and got into politics in the 1960s. He moved up the ranks in the Conservative Party until he became the province of Alberta's 10th premier, a position he held for 14 years, after which he was succeeded by another former Eskimo, Don Getty. Lougheed's Conservatives swept away the old Social Credit Party in Alberta and ushered in a time of change and growth. He never forgot his time in green and gold, and was often seen cheering on the Eskimos in the glory years, witnessing his old club in 9 Grey Cups in a 10-year span, and congratulating them on 6 occasions when they came out the winner. After years of retirement, Lougheed passed away of natural causes at the hospital named for him in Calgary, and will be remembered for years for his career in politics, and as always, for being an inaugural member of the Edmonton Eskimos. And finally, looking at other important dates in the history of the Empire, September 17th, 1955. Don Getty makes his first professional start at quarterback, going 8 of 10 for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Eskimos roar past the Saskatchewan Roughriders 26-9 at Taylor Field. Eskimos Wall of Honor member Oscar Kruger had 2 touchdown receptions, and Earl Lindley had the third on a 52-yard catch and run. This brought Edmonton's record to 7-0 on the season in the middle of a 14 consecutive game win streak dating back to the end of the 1954 season. Edmonton would go on to prove that 1954's Grey Cup win was no fluke, and later that year they beat the Montreal Alouettes in the rematch, 34-19, their second Grey Cup in the original 3-in-a-row dynasty, cementing them as one of the greatest teams of all time. Thank you again for listening to another episode of This Week in Eskimos History. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Esks History, or find us on Facebook under This Day in Esks History. Until next week, fight on Eskimos.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Outstanding as always there, Superfan. Now, Matt, I think after the history segment, we did actually get a question for you that I think would be appropriate at this point.
Who from?
From Paul Reckner. So the question is, you've hung out with a lot of old fans that are past their prime and live in the past glories. What is the biggest thing you've learned from those irrelevant relics, and what are you sick of hearing from us?
Oh, Paul. I think the biggest thing I've learned is probably just kind of how to conduct yourself as a fan. I've never been, a cocky guy, I guess, but when... if I had opposition fans around me, especially at home, I'd sometimes I'd get into it a little with them. Okay. But they mostly taught me to take the high road and just say, hey, oh, you Eskimos suck. Thank you very much. See you next week, kind of thing. So, yeah, and just how to conduct yourself and how to have fun with it. Even no matter whether you're on your own or with a group or whatever, just have fun with the CFL, meet a lot of people who are passionate about it.
Awesome.
And I don't think I'm really sick of hearing anything from anybody, honestly. It's, this is how I learn, just because I don't have too many, I am a newer fan, so to speak, compared to the older crew. And
Mike, yeah.
So, yeah, I know. I learn a lot from everybody.
We're the same age. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I learn a lot, and that's my favorite part.
Awesome.
And so I can sit around and soak up stories from you guys all day.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, stories is with Superfan Mike. I'm just here.
I just make it mostly.
I just guide people along.
Nobody actually fact checks me, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I talk on my
Fire truck
all day, so it's perfectly fine. All right, let's take a short break and be back with our out-of-town scoreboard, the game preview against the Argos, and this week's Pick'em.
This is Bud Steen, and you're listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Hey guys, do you know there's even more ways to interact with the Empire online?
What?
That's right. You can find us on Twitter at EskEmpirePod, on Facebook under the Eskimo Empire Podcast group, on Instagram at EskEmpirePod, and you can also follow us on YouTube under our channel, the Eskimo Empire Podcast. Now, I know you guys like that Eskimo history segment, right?
Yeah!
You can follow more of that information at Esk's History on Twitter, and you can find it on This Day in Esk's History on Facebook. Don't forget to share, okay?
Okay!
Thanks so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. All right, we're back. I thought that was an appropriate plug because refs are people too. Let's do an Empire Points update, shall we? Chris Curtis, Joe Belineski, Lord Touchdown, Coach Vic, Joe Pritchard, Uncle BD, Leanne, Bill K, Shelley R, and Hippie are in the draw right now as far as Empire Points are concerned. You can earn your Empire Points by sharing the show or, of course, leaving iTunes reviews or in generally making us laugh.
Don't be a member of the show. That's another way to earn Empire Points.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you're not a member, you get... All right, fine. The top 10, again, remember, is in a draw at the end of the year for the game-worn Shamad Chambers jersey. The Joe Adarius for Autism watch is now up to $70.80 as Adarius got 41 yards in this game. I'm wondering this week maybe if he'll have a few more and maybe
200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Love it. Love it.
All right, let's wild-ass prediction.
I love it. Let's get to our out-of-town scoreboard, shall we?
Yes.
Of course, brought to you every week, as always, by SeatGiant.ca, where they have tickets for all the CFL games, and all of them are in Canadian dollars. Plus, of course, they have concerts, theater, events, all those types of things. So please go to the site and use the code FIRETRUCKER to get a discount and help out the show. Let's go over last week's games. Superfan, you are up.
Yes, well, the rumors of BC's demise are definitely overrated there. BC handily taking Montreal 41-18.
Yeah, a couple things in this game. Lule gets hurt. Football's a cruel game some days, and he was playing so well, and that looks like a pretty serious injury.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but Jonathan Jennings came back and showed why everyone was raving about him so much last year and the beginning of this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought he played much better. And then, of course, today they did sign Mitchell Gale. So
Yes.
So Mitchell Gale is in the race to try and beat Kevin Glenn to all 9 teams.
Right.
So let's see now. Gale has been Toronto,
Yep.
Saskatchewan, Calgary, and now BC, right?
That sounds right.
Is that about right? So
Not Hamilton? No?
not yet. No. Give it a year.
I was going to say by the time this airs.
It could be. Yeah, that's just entire. Well, we'll give him a week with BC.
That's true.
All right.
At least he's actually suited up for these teams versus Kevin Glenn, who
That's true.
for a couple of those teams did not suit up. So
This is very true. That's you know what's going to happen. The same thing. Mitchell Gale will never get to Edmonton, just like Kevin Glenn.
Right.
Yeah, the traveling Glens and the traveling Gales.
Exactly. We need a
Coming soon
quarterback
to a
named
Grey Cup
Wilbury.
near you. I did like that we did have some laughs on Twitter with the Montreal Saloon Doors offensive line.
Yes.
Thank you to Brazilian Ty for that. It made for some good laughs.
I got points, I hope.
I'm sure he did.
Excellent. So next up, we had the Banjo Bowl. Winnipeg avenging their earlier loss on Labor Day, getting 48 points to Saskatchewan's 28.
Yeah, that was quite a performance by the Bombers. Apparent Glenn injury in that one as well. Starting quarterbacks going down like crazy this week, and I thought that Brandon Bridge played all right. I did like the leap at for the touchdown. That was pretty cool.
Air Canada.
Did any of us see this being the fantasy game of the week?
No.
Like, did any of us call that? Because I did not think there would be lots of points scored in that one.
No.
But Winnipeg back into their stealing the ball ways and doing very well at that. Of course, during that game, there was the big announcement as well that CFL Week is headed to Winnipeg next year.
Very cool.
I think it's a good pick for sure. I know a lot of people were saying they should keep it in Saskatchewan for another year to really iron those kinks out, but lots of passionate fans out in Winnipeg. I think it's a good idea to rotate it to different cities all the time so it doesn't get stale.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally agree. And, I mean, it's fun to be at IGF, so.
Yeah, well, it sure was fun when we were there in 2015.
Yeah, let's do that again, shall we?
Yes, let's.
All right, last one.
Hamilton coming out of nowhere to take this one against Ottawa, 26-22.
Now, do you think that has something to do again with Harris getting hurt?
Speaking of quarterbacks.
Our third starting quarterback going down. The big thing for me in this one, though, is that Hamilton started out and the first drive of the game, they got a touchdown.
Yeah.
They carried that momentum from the game from the week before.
I'm just been shocked that since Collaros has been basically benched, that they've been winning. I didn't see Masoli leading this team to victories like this, so good on him.
And I think another key is they're starting to use CJ Gable a little more.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
No. Guy's reasonably talented. It's like he can carry a ball okay. Yeah. The other part of this game, I just want to mention that they did honor Henry Burris and did put his number up on kind of their wall of fame. I don't know what they call it there. Ring of Honor?
I'm
wall
not
of
sure.
Fame? Something?
That one always kind of surprised me a bit. The names that are already there for Ottawa greats of past.
Sure.
It just seems a guy that was there for a couple of years just seemed a little out of place for me.
Well, I think the thing is that he was the face of the franchise for the 3 years.
Yeah.
And he had them at 2 Grey Cups and won one of them. I can see, I was surprised it was a little earlier than I thought that this would happen, but I can see why they would do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, for us, we don't have Matt Dunnigan on our wall. We don't have Damon Allen on our wall. We don't have Tracy Ham on our wall.
But we have a lot more options than they do.
Ottawa had some amazing players going back to the day, right?
Sure, but it's cool to have a current one to kind of tie it to this new Red Blacks team.
Yeah, the demographic has changed.
I might have waited too. I might have waited a couple of years, but that's just
I would have waited a couple of years. And some of those guys, I can see Ellingson and Sinopoli and those kind of guys sticking around for quite a while too.
Yeah.
And if, I'd give it maybe 5 years from now, maybe you induct 2 or 3 of those guys if they stay around.
Oh, they'll bring the Bloods back together.
Yeah, as a group kind of in the inaugural Redbacks class. Red Blacks.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Close enough.
The Rednecks.
Something like that. All right. So this week, of course, our game is out in Toronto as we're going to take out the Argos at BMO Field. Now, the Argos did just sign defensive back Mitchell White, but it did go to the practice roster.
I was shocked that we didn't at least make it.
I was just going to say, do we know a team that needs a DB at all? Yeah. One that could play halfback even.
Yeah.
Please come back, Brandon Thompson.
Please come back, Aaron Grimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, boy, I would love that. Yeah.
High hopes there.
Yeah, I think so. Now, they, of course, the Argos are coming off a bye week as well, so this is a stiff challenge for the Eskimos as they go out there. Let's talk about the keys to the game for the Eskimos. So, Matt, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, first of all, I want to check the weather, quite honestly. BMO Field is on the lake. The weather can be weird there, just like it is in Hamilton, and our kicking game and our special teams are inconsistent already. And whether inconsistent weather is going to turn them around and help them be more consistent, I don't know. But but I think we really want to look at a lot of strategy in terms of do we start with, if we win the coin toss, do we start with the ball? Do we play the wind? Do we go for 2-point converts more often? And then I think the obvious positional matchup is going to be SJ Green against whoever we decide to put up against him, and hopefully we can shut him down.
Oh, please.
It's going to be Marcel Young. You know this.
No. God, please, just pick,
there are tears coming down.
There's got to be another person, right? Please. Hightower. Put Hightower on him and have Adams play corner.
If Adams is back,
there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. Or SJ Green is going. He's a good fantasy pick, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Kayla, your keys to the game for the Eskimos?
I'm going to go a little bit outside the box. And there's one thing that I actually noticed our second last drive was clock management. We really needed to play that ball slower and focus on yards and not the touchdown. Many might disagree, but if we would have had less time on that clock, I think we may have had an easier time keeping them from scoring. I can't see the future. I don't know if that's true, but I think strategy, like you said, Matt, needs to come into play more so than scoring, if that makes sense. Like, you have to play each minute, each team, play your special teams. Oh my, get up the field. For the love of God, get up the field. Return the ball. Block your returner, for the love of God.
For the record, I did think our special teams coverage
the coverage
was better.
But we didn't get anywhere.
This is true.
But kick returns is still a work in progress. That's my politically correct way of saying that.
But like I said, I was so pleased with the defense. I'm thrilled that they were back. Woo! Thank you, Cummins. I'm so happy to see you. Woo! And everyone else, of course. But I got a soft spot for him. He's like my Bryant Mitchell on the defense.
He is definitely an unsung hero on that defense.
Definitely. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I maybe just think about the clock a little bit more.
That's fair. That's a good point. Absolutely. Super fan.
Keys of the game, let's find some more DBs somewhere. Dig them up, find them, take someone out of retirement. I don't care what it takes. Let's get some healthy bodies out there that can stay healthy for the entire game, please.
It'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, that's...
You're not supposed to mention health.
Yeah, it hasn't helped the last 4 weeks. I haven't mentioned it, so I'm just saying.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
We've had certainly enough injuries and a bunch of losses, so I think it's time to bring back the Nate A Award.
Fair.
So, other than that, I think it's just we need to get a lot of pressure up on Ray. That front seven had a really solid week this past week. I think they need to do even better this week. If we can get Ray so he doesn't have those chances to get to that check down, which he loves to do, then we have a much better chance, because otherwise he and, like Matt said, SJ Green are just going to be licking their chops.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I think the key to this game is don't shoot yourselves in the foot.
They got no toes left anyway.
Discipline. I know we preach it so often on here, and I a bit of a broken record that way. But we need to have, and that discipline has to go all the way through, top down. But we need full discipline. We need like they say, certain penalties in the game are going to happen. Holding is going to happen every now and again, or every play and not get called and just get called every now and again. Offsides are going to happen when you're trying to jump that snap count, all those types of things. Those I can get over. But the preventable penalties,
Yeah.
we've got to stop. There's got to be no objectionable. There's got to be no rough play. There's got to be none of that. And I think if we can shore that up and play the same way that we did last week, we win this game. That's my feeling on that. So who are we going to watch in this game? Who's the player you're going to be keeping an eye on? Superfan, we'll start with you this time.
I'm kind of hoping I'm going to be watching Neil King on the field. If he can bring him back at safety, that I think is going to give us a little better protection back there. Like I said, we need some DB bodies, live, healthy, whatever, partly healthy.
Yeah.
Some just people out there that can play the game, know the system, and can give us a little more security back there.
Absolutely. Matt.
I'm going to say Darrell Walker, and not only him, but the effect he has on our other receivers. Now that he's
Great
back
pick, yeah.
and people have seen some film on him, are they going to key on him, and is that going to open up space for everybody else?
For Duke Bowman,
Yeah, great pick. Kayla.
I'm going to watch our kickers, especially
All right.
Hugh O'Neill. I still believe in that guy. He's got it in him. He's just, I don't know if he's nervous or there's just so much pressure he doesn't know how to handle it.
It's the Samson effect, I'm telling you. Cut off that beard.
I still believe in you. Come on.
I loved him with U of A, and I mean, I still think like his punting and his kickoffs have been
His punting is
reasonably
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, there was one
you
kickoff
know.
that was like really bad at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
That was
20.
not
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
But is Milo doing the field goals? Or
Just
are they
field goals, yes.
Okay.
Field goals.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and there is a rumor that Sean could be kicking this week to test his leg. If it's good enough, he may be coming in to do field goals. So we're hopeful that for the return of money. Exactly.
Absolutely. Like that's not
Goes without saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
I hate to see the look on the faces of a kicker who just missed. Like there's honestly I don't see anything more depressing because you just see that absolute defeat, especially at the end of that last game with Milo. You could
Yeah,
just
it's pretty
see it
tough.
written all over his face because they could have tied
Well, it was,
it.
46 yards?
Yeah.
47.
And it's, that's a tough kick, but I just think back to last year.
It's doable.
when
55.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To tie that
Yeah.
game against the send us to overtime.
Yep. Absolutely. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
This game, I am going to be watching our offensive line, and in particular, Colin Kelly,
Yes.
who does need to step up his game a bit.
Yeah.
A little bit better game this week.
They're going to be going... Oh, a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely... They need to be better.
Yes.
The Toronto front four has played very, very well, and they are coming for that quarterback every time.
Lemon drops.
So I'm a little concerned with that, especially because we don't need Mike getting any more hits. I love Franklin more than a lot of people, as people know.
Yeah, don't
but,
say.
I do not want Mike hurt. So that front line, you guys got to hold them up.
Yep.
No, wait. Let me rephrase. Block them up, not hold them up, and make sure that we're getting those. And I think there is a chance that Rotier is back this week as well. And
That's
I
a
think
good
that
possibility.
definitely helps
That
with
would
some work there. I did think last week, for going up against such a vaunted Calgary defense, I thought David Beard actually played a very good game. I should give him credit for that. I didn't say that in the game recap, but I am happy to see that they're starting to get some healthy bodies back, but that's going to be a big key to this game as well. All right, let's get into our pick'em, shall we? Because we always like picking our winners. Join the group there. We do try and post the link every second week or so when I remember to do it. So the leaders in that group this week, Hugo Agogo has gone up into first. Teely is in second. C. Vincent 103rd. TXA 2002 and Titus. Superfans 16 and 18 respectively for you and I. So at least I'm closer to you.
Yeah, it was a tough. I mean, I went 3 for 4 this week. That Hamilton game just totally messed us up. I think it messed
You
up
went
almost
two
everyone.
and two this week, didn't you?
I picked Calgary.
I thought you picked.
Yeah,
no,
we
you
picked all the
Edmonton.
same ones.
Did we?
Yeah.
I thought you told me you picked Edmonton.
No,
No.
I was on Asks Fans.
Oh, see, God, you just keep playing me there. I thought I had. Anyway, I went 2-2 this week. So, but I'm close.
There you go.
I'm close. So, all right, let's get into these ones. So, the first one this week, Saskatchewan versus the surging Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is in Hamilton. Matt, you're our guest, so I'll let you go first.
As much as I hate to say it, I can't go against Saskatchewan in this one because I don't think Hamilton has it quite all together yet.
All right, fair enough. Kayla?
I would agree, just on their defense alone with the Riders.
Fair. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. I think in this one, this is really tough, and the reason that I say it is tough, I don't know if Kevin Glenn's going to be playing or not. And if it's going to be Brandon Bridge playing the game, and in a battle of backups, where does this go with this surging Hamilton team? You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Hamilton wins their third game.
There you go. Good for you.
Super fan.
I disagree, but good for you.
Well,
No,
I
think
like to be different.
Hamilton has played well the last couple of weeks, so this is East versus East. East versus West is still a really crazy record right now. I think with Saskatchewan having that loss, they're going to be bouncing back, and Hamilton's riding a bit of a high, but I think that's going to come crashing down this week.
All right. Well, I'll be different because we
Okay,
all
just
know
gotta be.
I'm different. Yeah. Okay. Next game is it'll be our game, but we'll skip to that one to the end. Late Saturday game is BC versus Calgary in Calgary. Kayla, you get to pick first.
Only because, not that I'm right, but I want to be right. Let's go Lions.
Ooh, well.
I already put it on Twitter, and BC Lions actually liked it, so I gotta hold up.
All right. Hey, that's not a bad thing at all. All right. I'm going to pick the Stamps to keep rolling at home.
Yeah, the Stamps at home are pretty hard to beat. They've been seeming pretty human the last several weeks, but at home it's just a special kind of team for them. Jennings, I think, is going to make it a little closer, but in the end, Calgary takes it.
All right. Matt.
Calgary.
You can't say anything nice. Don't say anything at all.
That's why I rolled over that real quickly. All right. Next game is Ottawa versus Montreal, and this one is in Montreal. And let me tell you, that is an interesting game right there. I am picking the Red Blacks, though, to pull that one out. I just don't see Montreal's offense getting on board, and I know not that Ottawa's defense hasn't been spectacular, but I just haven't seen enough from Montreal to say that they can get. And you know what? Likely, what's going to happen? Stupid Montreal. But anyway, I'm picking the Red Blacks.
I'm taking the Alouettes in this one. With Harris going down to an injury, I think Durant is finally going to make just enough of it so that they're going to come out ahead.
Fair enough, Matt.
With no Harris, I will also go Montreal.
All right.
Sorry, Andrew. Montreal.
Hey, don't be sorry. That's fine. When I'm right and all of you are wrong, I get closer to you, so that's fine.
Just bring us all closer.
That's what
I have nothing to lose.
I'm trying to get closer. That's okay. Let's stop right there. Okay, last game. Our beloved Eskimos. Now that's weird.
Yeah,
I didn't say that right. Okay. Our Eskimos versus the Toronto Argonauts in Toronto. Superfan, who do you got in this one?
I'm taking the Eskimos in this one. I think that we're going to see a few more players coming off that injury list, shoring up some areas we definitely need it. I liked a lot of the play of some of the guys that came in. Hakuna Matata at middle linebacker, I thought had a fantastic spot
Yes.
in that game. I think Riley showed he can definitely throw that ball. Walker back, just all adds up to a win for me.
Absolutely. Matt.
I think I'll agree with Mike. I think the linebackers are going to take away the checkdowns, and the front four are going to get to Ray, and we're going to get enough points on the other end to take this one.
All right. Kayla.
I agree. Eskimos. I will never get tired of saying this. Our defense kicked it up last game, and nothing made me happier than to see those boys actually coming together again. And last week I said that this team needs to find some kind of leader, and I think Darrell Walker came back and he led this offense to, at least he led Zylstra and Duke. And I think they really looked up to him in this last game, and I saw a leadership in Walker. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I got
All right.
confidence.
Excellent. Well, I also have faith. And I am going to pick the green and gold this week.
Because I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith.
I do believe if that defense, like you said, Matt, if they can get some pressure, I think we're going to be, a little bit ahead of the game there. And what I'm really hoping for this week is that we end up with a little more capitalizing when that defense turns over the ball, because I have a feeling that could happen, and I know this offense is going to be wanting to show that they can put up if they can put up 22 against one of the best, if not the best defense in the league. Watch what we'll put up against any other. So.
And I'm hoping we just don't shoot ourselves in the foot as often, even half as much, and we've got an extra 10, 14 points.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And keep up with those receivers in Toronto too. But
exactly.
the tackling did improve drastically. So
I agree. Yeah, we'll take it for
And
sure.
let's face it, Ricky does get sacked a lot.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
That's right. Come on, chick, make me eat crow again. All right.
Let's insult them all. And
that's
like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
They can't
oh my
sack.
God, Odell sucks. I don't get it. Yeah.
Are those the rules? I am on board. Let's do this.
I don't think any one of us is me saying anything bad about Mondo, though.
Nope. Not a word.
Nope.
Yeah. So you can also join, of course, our CFL Fantasy. In that league, the leader right now is N. Hodge, some schmuck in second, and then Archley has moved up into third. So join us there in the Eskimo Empire Pod League, of course, or the Canadian Football Pod Network League, where you can go against all of your favorite CFL podcasters. We have come to the end once again. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Matt, tell everyone where they can find you online and all those things.
Sure. On SFans, I'm GizmoFan2, and on Twitter, I'm at Matt Pretty.
Perfect. So who's GizmoFan1? Kayla, where does everybody find you?
At Duchess Lombardi on Twitter, and now Instagram, the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Very well done, and I'm so glad that you corrected that the right way. That's perfect. Yes, follow, of course, all the Empire photography. Superfan.
I'm not on Twitter. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
No, I'm at...
How do we meet again?
I don't know. I just showed up here one day. I
In a
heard there's a
basket.
green and gold room
Your green and gold radar?
in a basket floating down the river. You can find me at 56 Parkies and the history at Esk's History.
Of course, you can find the show at Esk Empire Pod. You can find me at Free Policious, and follow us on all of the social channels, including YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, as we already said, and of course Patreon. Make sure you follow us there and join in as well. Extra shouts out, as always, to our Hall of Famers, Jedi, Hippie, Bill, Brazilian Ty, and Joe. So now the show should be back next week. We're working on a very special guest for the bye week. If that comes together, we will definitely have a show. If not, well, we'll have to see where things are going. Yes, but we will announce that as always. So, can the Esks reel in the emotion and reduce the penalties this week?
Absolutely.
Will another week of consistent receivers get this offense to put more points on the board?
Absolutely.
And is it time for the Esks to get back in the win column?
Absolutely.
For Matt, Web Mistress Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.